Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Welcome guys. Okay, so today I'm going to review or talk about some points that I saw from the debate between Brother Jake, the Muslim metaphysician, and Dr. James White. So this debate, they were debating about Tawhid and Trinity, and this debate happened like last month, and I'm just going to give some points that I got from it. And Brother Jake, mashallah, to me he did well, and all the points that he brought, Dr. James White couldn't respond to them because all he was talking about was interpreting the Qur'an for the Muslims. Like, this is how you should interpret your Qur'an. That was all I was getting, that vibe. There was no really any serious response from him. The only responses that he made were some of these things, and I'm going to go over some of them. So without further ado, let's start. So the first thing he did, and this is like what most Christian evangelicals and apologetics, this is what they do. They try to deduce the Trinity from the Bible. You see, this is an after effect situation. So is there any word like Trinity in the Bible? No, this is a fact. In fact, there's no mention of the creed that you see later on in the Bible. And is it bad? Like, is this like, so because it's not written there, so therefore it can be deduced? No, that's not the point. The point is you deducing it from the Bible. It doesn't give it any, what's it called? You can deduce more than 3 gods in the Bible. So anyone that is called God, we can say, okay, whoever we see that is called God, we can say they are part of some union somewhere. So just go into the scripture and say, hey, he's called God here, he's called God here. While you know that there are other Christians that don't actually agree without interpretation. So for example, you have Unitarian Christians that might not necessarily agree with that, and they might not even have any problem with calling other people gods, but not in the sense of the one true God, the Father, right? So that was the first thing he did. He was trying to deduce it from the Bible using verses that are controversial. Those verses are not like, people can read people read those same verses, and you have people like Arian, right? The one that they made the Nicene Creed for. You have people reading the same stuff, and also he tried to like speak some Greek to make sure to show some kind of, bro. There were people that were speaking Arian and all those other heretics that you guys, they also read the Bible. That's not just you interpreting it the way you like. It doesn't prove anything. So that's the first point. The second point, which is the main point I want to show today, he said he was accusing Brother Jake of conflating categories. So this thing is actually is like you're conflating categories. And what is this category? The category is like the being and the person. So when Brother Jake tries to get the definition of being and person from him, he never gave any. So what is the definition of a being? He never said anything. At the end of the day, we didn't get any clear, precise answer for that. And what is the definition of a person? You're just stating it. You see, you just stating it, it doesn't solve any problem. And this is why a lot of people have problem with the Trinity, because you don't understand it. You see, just you saying this is what we've been saying all this while. So it doesn't change anything. Now I'm going to show you guys why. So when we say being and person, so you're telling us there are 3 persons and 1 being. You see this word that you're using, these are philosophical terms. You see the people that were making this creed, and you were using like some words like usia. The usia is the being, right? The usia and hypostasis, right? These are philosophical terms, because in that time, this was the Roman Empire, right? And even for example, this word, the word that was used in the main argument of the Nicene Creed was about the homoousia and homoousia, or something like this. Homoousios and homoousios, same substance or similar substance. These are philosophical arguments. If you don't know, these are philosophical arguments. So when you say there's 1 being and 1 person, and 3 persons, these are philosophical terms that you're using, because this is the time of Plato and Aristotle. Not like they were alive, but the idea, the Neoplatonism was there People were arguing about these universals and particulars. This was what was going on. So you might be saying these things and you don't understand what they're actually talking about. So I'm going to show you why it doesn't apply in this case. It doesn't work for you in this case, because you are trying to, when you say one being, one usia, right? One being in three persons, such that each person has that particular being. This is why, see, we don't actually have problem with you guys. See, just accept the tritheism of your objection. Just accept that you have three gods, and it's over. Once you can, like, just be honest enough to say, you know what, there are three gods here. Like some other people have actually said, like the social Trinitarians, they've actually said there are three gods, but they still want to call them one to not confuse the people. But just accept it. Stop defending something that is indefensible. And it's not even that difficult. All you have to do is actually, let me show you. I have an example here. So this whole Platonic and Aristotelian kind of arguments has been going on. You know, some people actually, they were saying like, see, the Trinity is special because how can three become one? How can one become three? There's nothing special. These were arguments that people were having at that time. Until today, it's still similar. Set theory, all these things, by the way, it's so simple. Anyway, let me show you something, how you will understand the being and person. Maybe after this, you can understand what is being and person and why we are not conflating any term here. So now, look, we have three markers here. This is one marker, another marker. We have three markers. So now, what is the thing that is common between these three markers? You can say they have, what is their being? What are these? I ask you, what are these? What do they have that makes them markers? That is their being. So we can call it like markerness or the property that makes them markers. That is their being. That is their usia. So what will be their persons? So this one is blue, for example. This one is red, and this one is black. So you can see this is what makes them different. And each individual pen, each individual marker possess what it takes to be a marker. Sorry. So if I take this blue one now, is this a marker? You say yes, this is a marker. Is this a marker? Yes. Is this also a marker? Yes. How many markers do we have? We have three markers. How many being do we have here? That is not the question. You will not be like, hey, look at this. Can you say there's only one marker? If you say there's only one marker here, this is exactly what you guys are saying when you say there's only one God. Because you've already identified that they are distinct from each other. Once you have distinctness in a particular set, then you cannot have, such that, you see, if you the Aristotelian philosophy will tell you like each individual particular possess the being. So this is a being, this is a being, and this is a being. You have three beings. If you are more like the Platonic kind of thinking, then you have another form that is perfect there, such that just like the people like someone like William Lane Craig, they have this kind of weird partialism going on in their own Trinity theory. So they believe like it's like a part. So the Father is a part of God. They believe the Trinity is God. So the main thing that is God is the Trinity, not the persons. So the persons are part of the whole Trinity. Do you understand? So the Trinity is somehow greater than each individual. That's what the consequence will be. So these are things that were discussed long time before you guys brought up this theory. So it's not like something out of nowhere. So I just want to clarify that, and to even give you a better understanding. It's like this. It's like humans. How many human beings are in the world right now? If I ask you this question, if you say there's only one human being or 7 billion human beings, which one are you going to say? If we use your logic, there will only be one human being, but we know there are 7 billion human beings. Or if you and your friend, how many human beings are you guys? You are 2 human beings. If you can say you are just one human being, then you can say that, but it doesn't make any sense. That is, and if you want to say it, you can say it. You will just be a Platonic philosophy, and even then, you still have 2 distinct individuals that yet possess And you guys even define it further, like if you read the Nicene Creed, you will see it clearly. God from God, true God from true God. All these statements clearly distinguishing that each individual possesses it. So such that, some people will say like Tertullian, all those people, the earliest people that were talking about the Trinity, they didn't mean it in the sense that you guys mean it. They meant it in a way like they are a triads of God, like that actually three gods or three divine people somewhere. They didn't mean they are one. When you say they are one, it is a big problem. So that is one there. And what else? Then the accusation. I don't want to make this too long. He started accusing Dr. James White. He started accusing the Qur'an of misrepresentation of the Trinity. No. So one of the accusations was that the Qur'an calls some people gods, or accuse them of other people worshipping them. So in Islam, you need to understand what Islam actually says about this before you say we are misrepresenting you. So when in Quran 5:116, when Allah is saying that, asking Mary and Jesus that, did you tell the people to consider you as gods? It's saying worship. You see, when you worship, whatever it is you worship, you see, your phone can be your God in that sense. What we are saying is, see, whatever you take as more important than God, that cannot be God. That has to be something else. That whatever you take, that is your God. So even you can be your own God. In a sense, like what you are your false God, but you are ascribing worship to yourself. In the sense that you don't obey God, you think you are more important. Something like this. So in another part of the Quran, when Allah says, do not say three. God is only one God. He is above having a son. God cannot have a two. Remember, La ilaha illallah. When we say La ilaha illallah, means there cannot be a second one. Like you guys believe there can be more than one. We say no, there's only one God. The moment you bring another one, that's two. Another one, that's three. Whether they share same substance, whatever. There's no conflating of beings and persons here. And by the way, let me clarify that again. Just ask yourself that question. Are you a person? You say yes, I'm a human person. Are you a human being? You say I'm a human being. Unless you don't consider yourself as a human being, that you're just a human person. The human being is somewhere else. You are a human being and a human person. So every human person is a human being. Do you understand? So you cannot, there's no conflation of being and persons here. They are always in line together. Unless you want to create a kind of modalistic method, like such that those persons are not actually persons. They're just modes. They're just like, they appear in different forms. That's the only way, like the oneness Pentecostal, those ones do. That's what they believe, that you see they are not actually three. They are just appearing in different ways. That's another route you can go. But at the end of the day, is either you have three gods, or you have partialism, or you have modalism, or if you want to use the real Platonic sense, you have four gods. One will be the perfect one, and these will be the three instances. And guys, this is what is going to happen. Anyway, the Quran didn't misrepresent you. And another one says that, okay, the one he was actually saying the most is that the Quran is saying that Christians worship three gods. That we say we worship one God. Why is the Quran saying we worship three gods? That is the point. You guys are saying we are worshiping one God, but in your creed, you're actually worshiping three gods. That is what Allah is telling you. See, you think He's one, but it's three. You might think He's one, but it's actually three. As I've actually explained to you, it's so clear. Anybody, even me, I can see it. So Allah will see it much more clearer than us. So Allah is telling you, you are saying you are worshiping one God, but it's actually three. Just accept it. Once you accept you are polytheistic, then everybody will leave you alone. Instead of saying you are monotheistic, you are forcing yourself on us. So this is what I wanted to clarify. And lastly, that's the last point I wanted to make. So the debate is, to me, it went on the favor of Jake, because this guy came prepared and he knows what he's talking about. And these are not even like, there are other scholars that are much more serious than most apologetics that are actually trying to find a way philosophically and even scripturally, and some have even abandoned it generally because it doesn't actually make sense. You have to create some other kind of method, like maybe relative identity or something like this. You can't use the normal way with reason to actually come to this conclusion. What you will come to every time is tritheism, three gods. So I just wanted to explain that. So inshallah, next time I will explain this being and person, that category accusation much more deeply, inshallah. So wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.